Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode 11 of Wirecast Live. Today is July 21st, 2016. I'm your host, Andrew Haley, and I'm the product evangelist here at Telestream for our Wirecast Live streaming product, as well as our ScreenFlow screencasting and editing software for Mac. So we're glad you're here. We hope you have tuned in to join us for an exciting interview today. I'm very pleased to be joined by our friend and colleagues over at NewBlue, specifically Travis White. He is the head of product over there, and he's a really, really knowledgeable fellow. We've done a webinar in the past and have done some cool stuff. We've really collaborated closely with these guys to bring you some amazing new graphics and things like that, which you should be seeing just here to my right. This is an example of the type of stuff you can do with the NewBlue titling software. And we've bundled that in Wirecast 7 for free, the basic Express version, which allows you to do so many cool things. So we're really excited. We've been wanting to have these guys on and talk to them about their titling software, what you can do with it, and show it off to you all. I've done a few little kind of kick the tires, done some demos in the past, but they're really the ones that know this better than anyone because they make it. And Travis is a wealth of knowledge. So we hope that today's interview with him is just going to give you guys an exposure of what's possible, what they've added, what they're doing over there at NewBlue, what they've got cooking, and the types of things that you'll see from them in terms of graphics and titling in Wirecast and for live broadcasting. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Travis to our episode today. Welcome, Travis. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm good, man. So you're down in San Diego, right? Southern California.
That's right,
yeah.
San Diego.
We're a bit north of you. We're up by the Sacramento area. So we Northerners, although we won't always admit it, do get a little jealous of you SoCalers sometimes.
Well, you know,
we have the forest, you have the beaches.
We try to be gracious with you. Invite you down a lot, right? Come on down.
Yeah. When I look at the weather report every day, I always think, it says like high, 95, low, 70 degrees. And then when a weather report in San Diego comes on, I'm watching national news, it's like high tonight of 70 degrees, low tonight of 70 degrees. It's rock
just
solid.
About, yeah. Just about.
Well, cool. I'm glad you're joining us, and it makes it easy because, same time zone and everything. So I'm glad you're sticking around for us today. So
well, I'm just excited to be on here and get the word out basically to the Wirecast customers of what we got going on here.
Yeah, I think this is something people have been asking about a lot. I've done what I can to share what I know about the software, but it's so deep. There's so much you can do with it, and I'm not an expert, so I thought we should call on the experts for this. So why don't we get started with telling people, just a little bit about NewBlue. What's your background? How did the company get started?
Okay. Well, 7-ish years ago, we started with video effect plugins for post-production. So video editing. So it's like Avid Media Composer or Adobe Premiere or Apple Final Cut or Sony, or Grass Valley, or just basically all the different video editing applications. We do special effects. So it's like cleaning skin, changing the color of the sky, removing fisheye from a video, all these kind of like fixer stabilization. And so we've been doing that for quite some time and having a good time selling those products. And while we were in that market, we're like, you know what? The titlers in these different video editing applications are kind of weak. They're 2D, they're not animated, they had been developed years prior and not been touched. And so, you know what, we have an opportunity there. So we developed Titler Pro, NewBlue Titler Pro, and this is for post-production video editing, and it approached it in such a way that it wasn't another 3D modeling program or rich 3D compositing program that the editors had to kind of become a second expert at. But rather, it's a plug-in experience, it's very efficient and fast to operate, but still get animated 3D titles and graphics into their editing. And then we said, shoots, live needs this too, right?
Totally.
Especially with a new approach. And so that's what brings us here today with Telestream.
Yeah, I mean, rumor has it is that it was the MMA, the Mixed Martial Arts Association, was using some of your stuff.
That's actually very true.
Yeah, and they were also using our software, Wirecast, and they approached, I think they approached you guys and said, hey, you got to do this stuff for live. we love your titles, the live broadcasts.
Yeah, we met up in Burbank at a trade show and just started riffing on the conversation, and
that's how great things get started, man.
Exactly.
Well, cool. Yeah, so we've got so we're really happy you came over to our side of the fence from the post-production side and brought all the cool stuff you had going on over there and brought it to people in the moment live, and just can do that on the broadcast. And you know, as I said, people can notice on this broadcast some of the cool animations and bugs that you guys offer, just, you know, as they're watching this broadcast. So hopefully I get a little flavor of that. But I understand you'll be doing a little bit of a hands-on demonstration as well. And
well, what's hilarious is you know, we can do a broadcast within a broadcast, essentially. So, you know, show off a little bit of a lower third, maybe, right?
Yeah, you've got it going on down there too. So,
yeah,
in case people are wondering, we are bringing you in through Skype, through our Skype TX machine. New tech offered to let us use one of their machines, which works on the Skype TX network. And it's cool because you can pipe in not only your video and audio, but also your graphics software through Wirecast right into your Skype software. So you can do everything we can do here remotely, which is cool. So in case people are wondering how he's doing it. And he's also going to use that same technique to show us his desktop and some demos. So we'll get to that. So let's talk real quick about what do people get? I mean, so this new partnership was announced. I mean, we've worked with you guys since Wirecast 6, and we announced an add-on. People could add Titler Pro or Titler Live to Wirecast for, you know, extra couple $100 and get the add-on software. But starting with Wirecast 7, we've actually decided to partner and bundle it in. We liked it so much, we thought everyone should have this just from the get-go.
Yeah, it's the nice thing with Titler Express that comes with Wirecast 7, just when you get Wirecast 7, is that it has the ability to pick templates that you and we have a large variety of designs and styles to really accommodate different broadcasts. And there's just a couple things to do. It's like change the text, change the color, maybe change the logo or image that's in there, and then go live with that source. And you can do one of two things, and we'll see how this works, is you can control the graphics coming in and out through our interface, or you can control the graphics coming in and out right in the Wirecast shot bin as well. And you get that animation. It's not just using the cuts or the smooth dissolves that Wirecast offers.
And so, yeah, maybe it was best if we just show people. I mean, that way they can see for themselves the type of stuff that they're offering. So this, to be clear, is Titler Express. And it's what you get when you buy Wirecast 7 or upgrade to Wirecast 7 as just part of the package. Now, if you were to buy the software on its own outside of Wirecast, I mean, can they do that? Is that possible? If somebody wanted to get the same tiling software but did it through, say, directly, let's say they're on Wirecast 6 and they haven't decided to upgrade to 7 yet, can they go to you guys and get a copy of Express outside their upgrade?
Yeah, they have an opportunity to purchase Titler Express or the other SKUs that we offer as well. So those are also available. It's just a good deal to get 7.
It is. Honestly. It is. I mean, I recommend it because you're just getting, not only you get the upgrade to 7, which has a ton of awesome new features, but you also get Express, which is awesome. Highly recommend you go to 7 anyway, but if that was only available in 7 or for people who might want. Okay, so let's dive in and see what you get for with Live Titler Express. Titler Live Express. We'll give you full screen here.
And I'll give you now. Since I'm going to be showing off a whole bunch of different things, and this show is about graphics, I figured I'd take the liberty to be kind of random in a whole bunch of different designs and approaches that I'm taking with it, rather than sticking with one brand.
Show us the variety of flavors. Right.
Exactly. So here's one graphic. Let's talk about doing Express, Standard, Advanced, Ultimate. Those are the 4 different SKUs that we have to offer there. And so I'm going to start in Titler Express. So let's go for Titler Express here. And I'm going to start with, in the shot bin here, you have a little plus sign in Wirecast 7 here. And if you open up this menu, you can see that you have an option for Titler Live. So when you click that option, you're going to get the source properties here. And if you've already added a title, which I have already, you want to make sure that you hit the radio button for new, so you can create a new source. And also what you want to do is click the Titler Live button to launch our interface. So I have our interface here. And you'll see that this new source has been created, enter text. And what we can do is we can go to, let's say, a lower third. Scroll up and maybe find a lower third that we want to use.
So to be
and
clear,
drag.
just for a moment, can we pause for a second? On the left there, that list of different types of sources, you've got main titles, lower thirds, kinetic motion pack, highlight, and collection. I mean, that's like everything in the kitchen sink that you guys offer.
That's correct, as well as some white ones that I've made my own, so you can organize your own stuff in there.
Okay, so those bold ones are clearly your own categories that you
Yes.
sort of set aside. Okay, so if somebody's just starting from scratch, they're not going to see as comprehensive of a list. If they're just starting with Titler Live Express, they'll see the lower thirds, main titles, and a couple of those other.
Yeah, what they'll see is lower thirds, main titles. In fact, we'll walk through a couple of these. So I can just hover and preview some of what these lower thirds are going to look like. So we'll just preview a couple of them here.
The mouse, the thumbnail.
That's right. Just hovering over the thumbnail gives you a preview of what that's going to do. Let's see if we can go a couple of other ones that might be some interesting lens flare oriented ones here. You also get main titles. So maybe you could do something epic like Sparta, the greatest city.
These are like full screen, full, full on, right? Not just at the bottom, lower third.
Right, and then, yeah, that's kind of the concept of a main title. Some of them have a little bit of alpha, some don't. For example, this one right here doesn't have any particular background to it. It's just over your video. And then you also have motion bugs. So if you want an opportunity to make your brand or your company bug come up, you can do that.
Yeah, cool. So this, and most of these that you've previewed are already templates that you guys have made and are available in the Express version.
That's correct.
Okay. So this comes with just a pre-built library of stuff that you can, and you just add, you just change the text and color here, add your logo there.
Yeah, so actually, let me go pick the other version of this lower third that has an image as part of it. So I'm going to drag and drop from the library down to the playlist. And so it has a little logo here spot. And so let's say this is I am Maki. And click enter. So I am Maki, and maybe we go in here and get a picture. And now, in Wirecast, if we want to select that and click the Go button, we now are able to make that graphic go live. And if we want to take it off of live, we click, go over to the clear layer, click, and then hit the Go button, and there it goes.
Right out.
Yep.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Now, if I wanted to also control it from our interface, we can do that. So let's get back to our interface here. And this is where you have this play button. So if I click this play button, you're able to make first step number one. Here's
right.
Yeah, you need to have it live within Wirecast because we can't tell Wirecast what to do.
Right. It's
There we go.
stubborn that way.
Yeah, exactly. So you can go out. You can come back in. So you can also control from within here. So, and each one of these tabs represents a source for which I have a couple of sources going.
Okay. And so the now you can create a playlist of multiple sources, same playlist, and that I was told actually by Deborah Lee that you are if you have multiple sources in the same playlist, multiple titles. Let's say you do a title for Machi, you do a title for his best friend Benji, you do a title for all the dogs or whatever. In that same list, one after another, just stacking your Tyler Pro or your Tyler Live playlist right there. At that point, you want to control the pushing and all that stuff. Just like you're doing there from the Tyler Live interface, right?
You still have the option, in fact. So let's say you know that your broadcast is going to be somewhat in sequence. So let's say this is, I'll just call this second, just to be dead clear about these things. And we'll call this next one third. All right. So we currently have Mach-E live, right?
Right.
Let's go back to the Wirecast interface. And let's switch over to, let me make this a little bigger for you guys. Clear layer, go. So there goes our graphic.
Right, it's out.
Now when I come back to that same source,
the next one should be queued up. Is that right?
the next one should be queued up. So let's go double check. Oh, it's like.
So what are you doing there with the circles, the dots, the play?
Oh, this was, I was making sure that I was in the mode that it originally installs in, and I'll show you what that looks like.
Okay.
So anyway, here we have the second one, and we hit go. And then we go back to a clear shot, go, goes away, and then we come back to the source again.
Loaded, yeah, the next time.
Right. So that's one way to operate. Right. Now, what you do have.
A little bit?
Yeah. Let's see.
Bit,
you mean?
See a little bit more on your lower.
On the timeline. Okay, zoom in on the timeline, like so.
There you go.
Okay. So now, one thing that you don't have control over in the Wirecast UI, just because there's not a facility for it, is if you wanted to jump back to some other title randomly. That is where you would, if you wanted to play different titles at different times and you're not sure of the order, that's a good argument to make multiple title sources and each source have just one title in it. Or go to our interface, and let me switch back to that play icon, or just click one of these randomly as you need them, and have them come in that way.
Playlist, have them that way.
Yeah.
And if you never want to have to take the title off the screen in, clear out that layer in Wirecast, that's just all my titles. They're all in this playlist. I'm just going to keep that shot live indefinitely. Jump through everything. The Titler Live interface, the playlist.
That's right. Yeah.
So what are you doing there with the circles, play?
This is an inspiration from the Telestream team. So this is called Auto Live mode. So it's very similar to your guys' Auto Live concept. Is when you click it, not only are you selecting it, but also it's going. It's going live right now.
So it's a one-click and go.
Right. Now, other workflows, you might want to be a little bit more particular. So if I turn that off, I get these action buttons. So these two action buttons are the same option. So if I drop down and do auto in, out, take, these are different ways in which these titles will animate. So auto means animate the current guy out and animate the next guy on. Whereas an auto in is cut the current guy out, just a hard cut, and then animate the next guy on. It's a little faster action. In out means, hey, whatever the state is, if somebody's on, take him off.
Okay.
If he's not on yet, bring him on.
Okay.
And then the last one is take, which is another word for cut. It's basically just a hard cut, no animation whatsoever. And all these options are also available on that second button. And the idea here is that you can choose your two favorite actions. So for example, I've chosen auto and I've chosen take.
Okay.
So let me, now that you have these action buttons, there's another concept that comes into play. What do you want to auto to?
Right.
So now, instead of being play buttons, these are just dots, and I can select a certain title to be the next one.
Yeah, you're almost like, it's like selecting shots in your preview for Wirecast for those of you setting things up on the left, and you're about to take them on the right when you go.
That's right. So now when I click auto, notice the last title is going to expire, and the first title here that's currently yellow is going to become live. So I click auto. There you go.
Okay.
And not only that, the next title in the list has become yellow, like I'm listening for the next action.
Okay. And then explain to me the difference between, just real quick, the auto versus the in-out.
Okay. So I'm going to switch to in-out to show you.
Okay.
So notice with one click, I was able to get the last graphic off and get the next graphic on, right? Well, in this case, I click the in out, and I currently have a title live, right? So when I click that, that title goes out and waits. I click again, now I get the next title. I click again, it goes off.
And then the next one's queued up, which is the third.
Yep.
Goes in, and then it goes, if you click it again, it goes out. And then does it just refresh the top of the list? Yep. Okay.
It does not. We could have gone either way, but we got more feedback from our beta teams that says, you know what? If I'm at the end of a pre-planned list, don't take me to the first title. It makes no sense for me. So we're like, so in a sense, you've expired your list, and you have to be explicit now. If you really want to start that list over again,
you got to make something.
Yeah, make something yellow.
Okay. And then
it's a safety measure.
So, and then switching between these modes is really as simple as clicking that little circular button that looks like the Go light in Wirecast.
Right
and
there.
It changes all the icons to play. And at this point, it's very much a one title go live. Click the next one. Just because you want it.
Now, when you're in the auto live mode, you can still change the type of behavior. So if I change it to take in this drop-down list, then now it's just going to be snap, snap, snap.
Got it. That really helps clear that up because I was confused about that, the way that was working. But now that you've explained it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we're trying to cover different workflows of, how do people want to do the broadcasting with their graphics.
And yeah, the cut versus the animation, big deal. Sometimes people just want to cut those on. Worry about. And if there's something really fast, they don't want to take the time to animate it. If they've got the wrong title on the screen, it's like, just get it on there. I don't care if things animate in and animate out. That's going to take too long. Let's just, boom, get it on.
Now, auto in, I'll just show you right here.
Like
you still have the
in, right? So the first
you have the benefit of animation
out, and then the animation. Got it.
And yeah, if you're in a fast-paced kind of situation, this really gets the graphic up there quickly while still you have the production benefit of animation.
So auto could almost be it's a shorter word for animate in a sense. Animate in, animate.
Right.
That's really what's going on. Okay. Got it. Cool. All right. Well, that clears that up. So it's pretty simple. You can make your own playlist and control it if the shot is live in Wirecast the whole time. The other way to work, of course, would be to just create new sources for every title and make new shots in Wirecast for each one and only have one source per shot.
Right. In fact, in my other Wirecast that I'm broadcasting from, that's what I've done. If you can see in the shot bin here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different graphics that I just click one of these guys. And
you're in auto live mode, it looks like, in Wirecast.
That's right. Yep. So, so if we wanted to learn things about Titler Live Express and much more, we can do that.
Right. So cool. All right. Well, I wonder how we're... okay, so you've got a comment here. Mateo on Facebook
Hi, Mateo.
Stupendo.
Excellent.
He's totally blown away by this. Robert Hicks says, happy birthday, Deborah Lee. And
Thank you,
Larry
Robert.
says he really likes the pairing of both of these applications. He thinks it's like peanut butter and jelly. It's like Batman and Robin. It's a match made in heaven.
There you go. I like to hear that.
We do too. We think you guys are the perfect dancing partners for us. So cool. So that kind of covers. I mean, is there anything else people should know about Titler Live Express? I mean, they get access to the templates. They get access to the playlisting stuff you just showed us. Anything else that they should know about, or should we go on and talk about what else you can do? Because we're just scratching the surface, right?
Yeah. Well, let's go into just Titler Live, or Titler Live Express, I should say. So, we just finished Express, and that's pretty much the main topic there. You have templates, you can modify them with your text and images, and now when we move to Titler Live, there's one fundamental idea that everybody needs to take away, and that is that you get a whole new interface called Title Designer. And in Title Designer, you have the opportunity to edit these templates. So let's go ahead and bring up our interface in here, and let's see what we want to do. I'm going to pick a really simple template. Just it's so clean. I think you guys love it too.
And I have to ask, Machi's your dog, right?
He is, yeah. Macchiato's my dog.
He's cute.
Thanks. So here we are in the playout interface, and when you have Titler Live, you now get this Title Designer button. So we're working with this particular graphic that says second on it, and we click Title Designer, and now we get a whole new interface that is about designing this title. So I'll just give you a survey of what's here. So first we have our top categories of areas in the application. One is library, the other one is attributes, and the other one is scene. And now in the library, you get much more. You get effects, you get lighting, you get style, different style types, you get transitions, shapes. But if you go into the project templates area, you'll actually notice that it's all the same categories. So you have double access to templates you might have saved, or when you make a new template, put it here and it's available in your playout interface. So that's that. So let's go to the attributes tab. And this is where you're really working on these different parts of this title. So parts of this title are actually 4 distinct parts here. In fact, if I go ahead and just shy them, you kind of see what those parts are. 2 pieces of text and 2 rectangles. And this is a timeline on the bottom that has animation on it. So if we open up these items here on the timeline, you'll see that right here, this is an animation, and it's the fly-in animation. And we'll see, and we're in the transitions tab, animation/transition. You think about it like a transition. We do have animations that are effects, which basically don't bring a graphic on and off. It just makes it spin or undulate or do something, right? But we're in the transitions tab. I'm going to go ahead and just delete these transitions because I'll show you how to apply them. So now we have just some 2 rectangles sitting there. Let's go to the library. We'll go into the transitions area and check out one of our additional animation packs, like the fluid motion pack, for example. We could choose bubble up. So now, when I hover in the library over one of the transitions, I get to see what it's going to look like. So if I want to apply it, I drag and drop or double click down into the timeline or into the workspace, either way. I could right click and copy the transition, go to that other rectangle and paste the transition as an in. And now I have these 2 rectangles bouncing in. Maybe I want to make one of them start a little later than the other guy. So 1, 2, that kind of animation.
Yeah.
So now I've modified this. Maybe this gray rectangle, I don't want to be so short. I want to be all the way across the screen, let's say. So now I've modified that design a little bit, and I want a gradient. So let's go to the next step, is working with the style of a particular element.
And just to be clear, it looks like the bandwidth on Skype is kind of taking a little bit of a hit. So we can still see your screen, but it's a little fuzzier than it was. So you'll just have to be a little extra explicit.
Sounds good. All right, so we're currently in the Object tab, which is your position, rotation, and scale. In fact, I just did that scale to make this graphic a little wider. Let's now go to the Style tab. And the Style tab is all about what does this current style layer look like. And in this case, it's a rectangle, it's orange. So let's change it from maybe just the orange color to instead choosing the gradient tool. So we can use a gradient tool here. Maybe we did want orange, but maybe we want double orange. Brighter to darker, something like that. There we go. And maybe the top we want actually a little bit more of a yellow. We'll click OK. And so now we've modified this particular layer to be this gradient. And then let's click on the text. The text has a white style layer. Let's go ahead and bring some extrusion onto that. And actually, what would be better for the extrusion is if I actually rotated it some. Huh.
So what tab?
There we go.
That's the, which tab is that you're in now?
I jumped over to Object just to rotate it a bit,
So the
and I'm jumping back to Style.
Okay, so Object keeps track of like things like position.
That's
and
right.
Spatial awareness, and then this style is really more to do with, you know, like the font, the color.
Right. So, for example, this word second. I want this word to not only be white and be extruded, but I also want it to have an outline. So you can kind of think of your favorite restaurant's logo, right?
Yeah.
It's white in the middle, it's got a blue outline, then it's got a red outline, then it's got a black drop shadow. You know, all those parts that make up a style.
Okay.
So I'm going to go up to these plus buttons. There's a 3D, plus 3D and plus 2D. I'm going to hit plus 3D for an outline. And this outline comes in as red, and I'm going to thicken that up a bit and bring it forward. And so now you can see how we have this kind of this thick outline here.
So why is that the plus 2D, plus 3D? I mean, what are you doing? What does that mean when you click on one of those?
Plus means I've added a style layer. In fact, if I close up the details of that layer, you'll see two bars here.
Okay.
One bar represents the white basic font that I have, and the other bar represents the outline I just added.
Okay. And so when you hit plus 3D, you're copying the first layer, but adding another, it's basically an identical one, but it's a three-dimensional second copy or something?
Well, the first one was also three-dimensional. But the second one is an outline, a face, or a gloss face. So, for example, outline is I've now added an outline around the font. But another face is maybe, you know what, I've added the font again, and I'm going to put a semi-transparent graphic in it. Or I'm going to make it look a little glossy with a sheen. And it's just like, so there's a lot of variety of style you can do with just adding up these layers. Okay. You can kind of think of it, you know, Photoshop layers, right? You know, someone's working on a photograph in Photoshop, and maybe one adjustment layer they're messing with the color, and another adjustment layer they're putting a lens flare on top. You know, it's it develops the look of this particular word that you're working on.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a novice here, so I'm just.
No, this is great.
You're moving through things, so I'm asking you to slow down here and there, just so I can process. Cool.
Oh, that's fantastic. So there we go, and so we can go ahead and just close this up and apply this to the title. And now we have this cache develop. So what we're doing is we're basically rendering the result of this. And then so we can go ahead and play that graphic in. And there's that. And it says second, but I didn't want it to say second. I wanted it to say Maki. And I'm going to click the live refresh button and just kind of instantly get that fixed.
Where was the live refresh?
Right here.
Gotcha. Yeah, we don't have your mouse on screen. I think maybe.
Okay, it's just below the preview window.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Ding, ding, ding. So now that you've done all these things to this, okay, so you added this template, which I don't even recall. Was it Fashionable or Fashionista or something? And then you made these modifications. The title designer, and then you just closed the title designer, and it basically changed that for this particular title that you've designed.
For this use of that template.
Right.
Yeah. I still have the original template sitting in my library.
Right. So
now, because I have Titler Live now, I could have done it in the title designer, saved this new design I made. But now that I'm here, I can also save it here. I can right-click and choose Save Current Title here in the library. And so I'll just call it Maki 2 because I think I made a Maki 1 before. And hit save.
And where are you saving it? You save it wherever you want on your hard drive?
You could save it wherever you want on your hard drive, but I would recommend saving it in the library because then it's always available to you. So here, here's the thumbnail, right here in this library. Yeah, exactly.
Of lower thirds, and it's in the this is in like the documents folder in the NewBlueFX library.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. And so, and then to be really clear for people, Titler Live is this window. This is this application, and it basically accesses a library of templates and then controls the rendering and the playing of them, and then some of the variables as far as like what the text is and the color and things like there. And then Title Designer is a different program entirely.
That's it, yeah, different interface entirely,
Yeah.
essentially,
And
that comes
it's
along.
designed to do something totally. So it's almost like you're opening two pieces of software there, and they work together, but they're you don't have access to Title Designer, the base version Titler Live.
That's right.
So when you go up a notch, you get to do that. And then somebody was asking how you customize titles, and I think weren't clear if they were talking about the Title Designer, where which would be if they upgraded to Titler Live Standard or Advanced or Ultimate, or if they were just talking about customizing the templates that are already existing.
Right.
So,
well, I'll just do a quick customization right now. So I'm going to bring in a brand new template from main titles, and it says Sparta, the greatest city, right? In fact, we'll just make this larger so you can really get a good visual here. And I'll say, Andrew. There you go. Andrew, the greatest city.
I've been there. It's a great city.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I don't know if it's the greatest, but it's pretty good. It's up there.
And now, so that's one level of customization, right? Maybe color. Maybe you're a very intense guy and you need to be red, right? So, oops. Maybe I should click OK. OK. All right, so there's Andrew, the greatest city. So that's one level of customization. And you can do that level of customization in Titler Live Express. But then if you're in Titler Live or above, you get into Title Designer. And now you can do things like, Andrew, I don't like your font. So I'm going to change to Bauer. And in fact, I want you to be clearly a different color than the rest of it.
Yeah.
And this background thingy, I don't know who picked this, but we need bubbles.
Bubbles.
Yeah, we need bubbles. So so all of this level of customization, as well as an infinite level, right? This is the tool that makes this stuff. So I mean, you can go to town.
So that those bubbles, is that just an image you had, or is that part of a template library of background?
This is an image that we actually ship because we use it in one of our templates, so it's available to customers.
Got it.
But it could have been anything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Slick. That's some customization.
Exactly.
I've seen customization. So neat. All right. So that covers, I think, Title Designer to a certain extent. Clearly, it's a whole show in and of itself.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
But where do people go to learn or teach themselves how to do what you're doing?
We have tons of videos.
Okay.
So if you go to NewBlueFX.com, you have the opportunity to just rifle through all our tutorials. And what's interesting is that, you know how in the beginning of the show I talked about we had this product called Titler Pro that was for post-production for video editing applications? Well, that is also Title Designer. So all of those videos of just Titler Pro, those are completely relevant to learn how to design your own objects and designs.
Okay. And then how's your user guide? Is that pretty handy as well?
It is pretty handy. Yeah. Well, I know people want to watch stuff, but our user guide is actually very handy, very succinct. It doesn't drone on and on. It just really gets to the point really fast. A lot of pictures in there, so it's also another way to learn. That's a great way to learn.
Okay, and then the tutorials. Is there like a standard like getting started tutorial that you offer?
Actually, if you go to help, if this web page will come up for me. Well, okay. I have a problem there. So if you go to help, there's actually a getting started section that tells you how to configure to even show a first title. And then it has kind of these sample starter projects that it walks you through.
Cool. Okay.
So you can do that as well.
Okay. And you can find that through the help menu or.
That's right.
Well, that's really handy. So, okay, that covers, I think, a lot of the, the basics and how to get started, how to start designing your own, how to customize existing ones, and just get going quickly with the base level. But what types of things, because I know you guys offer 2 levels above this, so you have even more that's going on.
That's right. Even more, yes.
So
all right, so
let's give people a taste of what's possible.
Let's switch away from the dog, shall we? And let's get into some sports. So, in fact, let's just also switch away from that other source. And I'm going to add a brand new source. So hit the plus sign, Titler Live. I'm going to radio button over to new. I might as well just label it while I'm here. Game. I'll just call it Game On. How's that? Game On. And let me open up my interface here. And we'll go to the sports collection. So the sports collection is a whole category of templates that can be used for different kinds of sports. So if I hover over this one, here's kind of a nice stat graphic. Team versus team or player versus player, something like that. Mm-hmm. Or let's say, one of these other ones, which is also kind of like a stat idea. But if I dig into these different folders, I could do something like football, for example, and hover over it and say, yeah, that's the one I want. And I can drag and drop or double click to apply this particular template. And I'm going to make this template a little larger just so that we can all see what's going on here. There we go. It's kind of a big for a scoreboard, but you'll get it here. And so with a scoreboard, there's all these different variables that have been exposed from Title Designer. That's actually something I didn't touch on in Title Designer is in the Object tab where you did all that rotation position stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a checkbox that says, make me a variable. So, so that's how we're able to expose all these things over in this playout interface. So I've exposed the visitor team, home team, visitor color, home color, visitor logos, score, possession, timeouts, an image, maybe it's your conference image, the colors of the template itself. We can change all this stuff here in this variables area, but we really thought it would be much more convenient if we gave an interface that focused on the data of the game. So what I'm going to do here is go to View and go to Scoreboard Tool. So this is our Scoreboard Tool, and it has some clocks in it. And it has the scoring tools as well as, this is kind of a generic tool, right? So, hey, what does this particular template have in it? It have very different things if it was baseball versus football, right? So we can choose to promote the variables from the template that we want to control during the game. So we'll click this button here, and up pops a checkbox list, visitor team, home team. Well, I don't want to change those during the game. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to uncheck those. Same thing with the colors and the logos, but I am going to keep the period, the possession, the timeouts, and then get rid of a couple other things and click OK. So now I've promoted into this one interface all the different things I need to control this game. So now if we go ahead and go live with our scoreboard, I just have this convenient little controller to control the game. I can start the clock. I can increment the scores. I can change the possession to only be one, not both. If it's basketball, I have a shot clock maybe, and start the shot clock. I can choose to make these clocks count up or count down or be ganged together. So if I stop the game clock, the shot clock also stops. And so I have all this ability to control this and have it in the game, and then it's time for that graphic to go out, and it animates out. Click back on that source, hit go, animates in, still has the clock going. Wow. Oh, if I would have left the clock going. Right. There you go.
That's so cool. Keeps track of it off the screen and keeps it up to date.
Yep.
Huh.
So that's the main message about Titler Live. Advance. So that's a big thing with Titler Live Advance is you have this ability to do sports with this scoreboard tool.
How many scoreboard tools can you have open at a time? I mean, are they tied specifically to titles in the Titler Live? So if you have more than one scoreboard title in a playlist,
well,
is the scoreboard tool going to change? You have more than one window for a scoreboard tool?
You have one scoreboard tool at a time at any given moment because one game's going on in it right now. So if we went back to our Titler Live interface, in this case we're dealing with advanced features, and let's say let's go over to that other one we were doing the lower thirds with the dog. Let's go and get maybe like a halftime score. And what's a good one? Here, we'll drag and drop this guy. And I'm going to go ahead and ask him to go live. So notice it's 3-2. That's because in my score tool, it's 3-2. So if I increment up the scores, now it's 6-5. And if I go over to the scoreboard bug and bring that back, it's still 6-5. So the same data is being pumped to these different graphics.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, there's not, that kind of answers my question. You wouldn't have a totally separate clock. Now you could, in theory, have one scoreboard could have, you know, just the main game clock, and another scoreboard could have like the shot clock.
That's right.
Like that. And
you could separate that, and you would do that by this particular template not having the variable that we call clock2. And here, you know, here's an indicator. So, you know, in fact, let's go into that just to see how that operates. So let's see. We'll go here. This particular scoreboard, right? We'll go into Title Designer. Oops. We'll go with that. I think I lost it. So that's all right.
I was going to say, if you have a moment, it'd be nice if you could just take us from scratch, like just build your own custom scoreboard without using a pre-made template. Just add, you know, a score and a clock, or see what they would do if they were building that from scratch.
Okay, let's see. I think I need to do a reboot here.
Oh, okay. Should we call you back?
Yeah. Do that real quick.
Would that be easiest? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We will call you back in just a minute. So it looks like Travis is going to reboot his computer. That sometimes happens. These things. He's got a lot going on. He's got Skype, 2 instances of Wirecast, several instances of Titler Live going on, multiple shots. I'm amazed that we can really what we can do with machines, but it also means really far. Hopefully, he'll get back on reset the graphics thread of the computer gets a little bit when it gets conflicting instructions. Hopefully, we'll just give him a chance to reset there. I personally am loving this because I've had a couple sessions with Travis and just being able to see what Titler Live can do, but it's such robust software and it can do so much that I am really benefiting from being able to see this a couple times and being able to look and see how so hopefully you guys are getting as much value out of this as I am. I'm very interested in our software. It's something that I think complements our software so well and allows you to just take things to the next level. And it's the type of software I think anyone who's doing a live broadcast should have at their fingertips. Particularly, as you saw, if you're doing sports broadcasting, we're going to hopefully start using the just the clock tool itself before our own broadcast so that you guys will have a timer as to when the broadcast is going to start, which will be our own sort of waiting room. So we're going to give We're going to try to reconnect here with Travis. Travis,
There
are
he
you
is.
there?
Can you hear me?
We can. Everything
All right.
back up and running again?
Everything's back up and running.
All right.
So let's go ahead and add a layer.
Okay, yeah, so we were just covering, I was telling people while we were rebooting that just how much I love what you're showing us. It's so cool, and that I'm benefiting from seeing it a couple times now because it's just, it's complex, but it's also, there's a lot to learn, and it's fun learning it. And so
Me
what I'd
too.
love to see is if you could just build a title from scratch that has some of those scoreboard elements.
Sure, let's do that right now. So first thing to do is, of course, add a source that is Titler Live, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll click this Titler Live button to go ahead and launch Titler Live interface. And I'll get that source in there. All right, and so here we are, and we're going to go into Title Designer and start developing our own scoreboard from scratch.
And so when you create a brand new Titler Live source from scratch, you say create a new source, this is what you get. You get a bare bones basic text box.
That's right.
Okay.
Bare bones. Now, I can go over to the library and just go to all the templates and
Right.
pick something, right? But we're going to do this from
We're
scratch.
doing it from scratch.
All right, so the first thing we want to do is, let's say, Team A. And we'll put it here. And I'll keep things big just so it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use Control to drag and make a copy here and call this Team B. Then we want the scores, right?
Right.
So we could click this button, Add Paragraph. It's another way to do it, to add another paragraph here.
Okay.
And we'll just put 00 as a placeholder here. And put this right here. I can also use that trick Control drag to make another copy.
Cool.
And we'll finish up with 1 clock. How's that?
Yeah. Perfect.
So I'll just do Control drag to make yet another copy. And we'll do 00:00 just so it looks right.
Okay.
And we'll put that here. Now, what I want to do is expose these appropriately to all the different components that they're supposed to do. So Team A, in fact, let me move Team A over a little bit, and I'm going to change the mode of how this paragraph goes. Because notice, if I just keep typing,
This
this
gonna
gets
run on
bigger and
forever.
bigger and bigger, right? So I want to do something that gives a nice concession of keeping things tight into a certain area.
Mhm.
And so what that is I'm going to go up here to the top that says Text Fit Mode
Okay.
and choose to fit the text to box. That means however big my box is, the text is not getting any bigger than that. So Text Fit Mode. There we go, and I'm left justifying up here. That's what I'm doing. So if I say Team A and B, notice how it shrunk
Right.
as it's fitting in that space.
Right.
So that's a design consideration as you're building something. It's
Sure.
like, do you want stuff to just keep,
Falling out of the
what-
boxes? Right.
Right.
You
Well, yeah.
want
How do
that.
you want it to behave? Right. So Team A, we're in the Object tab, Attributes Object. And this is where all the position rotation stuff is. And there's this checkbox called Text Variable. So checkbox on means I'm going to be exposed as a variable. Well, what do I want this to be? I want it to be visitor team. And you'll see in the Scoreboard tool that that's actually a specific word that we use. So
Oh,
visitor team.
Visitor team.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Visitor team, there you go. And we'll go to Team B, and we'll call this home team. And by labeling them with this variable, that's how you're doing that hookup to the Scoreboard tool.
Okay.
So these two zeros, we'll call it visitor score. These other two zeros, we'll call this home score. And then this clock, we're going to go ahead and label it clock space 1. So we're not going to bother using that other clock.
Okay.
So now I'll go ahead and close this down.
And you have to have that text variable box checked there?
In order for, notice how those variables appeared down here in the bottom of the interface?
Right. They're all.
In order
text
for them
boxes.
to, yeah, because you think about it. If you make a rich design of all these lines, all these objects, all these pieces of text, you don't want everything to be exposed as a variable, it could get out of hand, right? So that's the idea of like which objects in my design do I want to bring over into this playout interface and make changeable. So then I'll go to the View menu here, and let's launch our Scoreboard tool. Let's start the clock. And so the clock's doing its thing. And
Bam.
maybe increments the scores. Maybe promote some variables from the template. Maybe we want the visitor and home names right in here. Okay. So it's the Cougars versus the Badgers. There we go.
So, yeah, I mean, and then, of course, I could see people bringing in their own Photoshop backgrounds for the boards, scoreboards. You know, like designing it with their team logos and colors and going all out if they want. And then they can fit these boxes wherever they want.
That's true. Yeah, that would be, if, and in fact, if people have already been doing sports, they already have some, graphic design, maybe in PNG form or PSD form, right? So the quickest way to get started is grab that same stuff, import it into Title Designer. I'll show you how to do that. Go back into Title Designer. I don't know if I have an appropriate image, but do File, Import Image. Here, we'll just grab this guy. Size him down and stick him where we want him. And on the timeline in the bottom, the way to make it go to the end is just drag it to the bottom there.
Okay.
So that's how to get something behind, right? Okay. If I wanted to do a multiple selection using Control and then move all these guys over a bit, I can do that.
Got it. And if you want to control multiple things coming in together, I could see people kind of wanting to lock elements together, so when they animate in, they animate it together. Is that easy to do?
Yes, in fact, let's do that with all of these elements here. So I'll use Control to do a multi-select. Then I'll right-click and choose Group. And now I'll go to the library, go to my animations, transitions, animations. Let's do something like kinetic. That's a slide out. Let's see what this looks like. Well, that's kind of cool.
Pretty cool.
So we'll drag and drop that one transition on this whole group. And I think we're good to go. Apply to, let's say, letter by letter. So I'm changing the slide out animation to apply to letter by letter. So watch what happens. So you have all those coming up there. I think slide out's probably not the best one. Overlap. Oh, overlap's at 100. That's why. It's like, why? Why?
There we go.
Yeah, so close this down. Our cache is developing right now. Yep. And then we could, go to the playout interface here and click play, and there's our graphic.
Very cool. That is a scoreboard that you just made out of nowhere.
That's right.
That's so rad. That's so cool. And I love it. It's almost minimalist.
Yeah, there we go.
Kind of cool.
This is the future of graphic design right here.
Yeah, you're going to see this on the NFL soon. Just, just keep it simple, people.
Now, there also is a neat feature. I don't know if you've noticed this little yellow circle appear every once in a while. This is the ability to scale down and maybe reposition.
So when you scale
even
down,
after,
are you just using the Shift key, Control key, Command? Like, what are you doing there?
I'm just getting my mouse up into the preview area, and now I'm getting these controls just by clicking and dragging.
And the scale.
And scale, I'm grabbing this circle and increasing that circle and decreasing the circle. And so the nice thing here is, next time we refresh this graphic, now it's scaled down. So it's nice. You could have obviously developed this kind of scale and position you wanted in Title Designer.
Right.
But now, when we're live and we're ready to go, and when we're in a playout interface, you have that additional opportunity to scale and position.
And is that true for the Express users as well?
Yes, the scale and position within the playout interface is available for the Express users.
And so one thing we noticed was if you design a title that's almost like out of the title safe areas or somehow just a little bit off screen in Title Designer or in Titler Live in the playout interface, does it get cut off when it comes in as a shot?
How do you mean? I'm not quite understanding.
So go back to Titler Live or Titler Express.
Okay. All right,
and
our
if you
interface.
have the title actually off the screen a little bit.
Okay.
Here.
So let's say if this is
something like that.
Like that.
That A doesn't exist in Wirecast. I mean, that other half of that image is cut off, right? Because that's all you have to be in the screen, right?
Yeah. So that's totally correct. So here we have the A, and even if you use Wirecast's, positioning controls,
find it.
That's just not going to do it.
That makes sense, and that's true in the title designer.
Oh yeah, it's all the same. Because if you think about it, is like on our side, we're authoring a very particular image the way that you set it up, and that image is the image we're sending to Wirecast. Wirecast doesn't know any better. It's just like, what are you giving me?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And it's, well, I'm just giving you this 1920 by 1080 rendered graphic, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you dragged it in Title Designer, I noticed it was cut off for a second there.
Oh yeah, a little temporary update, right?
So was that just taking a moment?
So dragging, and I release, and now I get it back. Because what's happening actually is because you're dragging it around, we're still in 3D space, mind you. So as you're dragging it around, we're figuring out, okay, do we need to hide that object now because we don't need to render it because it's off screen? There's actually some very tricky things that go on here. In fact, I'll show you. Let's just go to a motion bug, for example. And let me find a nice motion bug. Silver disk. We'll do that. And we'll scale it up. And let's preview this. No, you know what? That's not a good one. Let's say to really make the point, we'll use spin in. There we go. We'll use this one. So here we have this logo that if you click the preview, if you can see this, it spins in from the left, right?
Right.
So
left.
What's quote-unquote off stage is a very short distance, right? But if you go in here and you drag this logo all the way over to the right, and you click preview in, we're going to run all the way across the screen because we've recalculated the 3D scene, recalculated what's on and off screen. And so it actually turns out to be quite flexible.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And so your canvas, and then of course that's what you're limited to in Wirecast, so don't try to reposition this title, particularly if you need something come in from off screen, because the screen border should match what you have in Wirecast.
Right, and we pick up from Wirecast, hey, what is your resolution? We're going to give you that.
Really cool. Well, man, we've really dived in here, and I'm really happy about it.
We have, haven't we?
Let's. So I mean, that's good. That's what this show's for. We don't really skimp on technical stuff on this show. So I like, there's plenty of time for short, quick videos and just surface level stuff, but sometimes you want to just really sit with the expert and learn from the masters and just kind of watch in detail. So that's what this show we kind of thought and had in mind when we did this. So I'm glad you're willing to sit here with us and show us painstakingly how this stuff works, because I think this will be around for a long time for people to check out. Okay, well, anything else? We should probably wrap up here. Do you want to talk quickly about Ultimate?
Yes. Well, just and we'll keep it quick. I won't necessarily show anything, but just to rattle off a couple of things that you can find in Ultimate. So Advanced was all about sports, right? Ultimate is about every template we have It's about CSV data control. So you can actually have someone sitting at a CSV file, like a spreadsheet tool, and be managing everybody's names or all the locations, whatever the information is. And that information will be pumped into our graphics, even as you edit it.
So I'm pretty sure you guys need to go get the United Nations.
There you go. And also as part of Ultimate, we have remote control. So like everything I've been showing you today, we've been sitting on the same computer. With Ultimate, you have the ability through a network cable on your network in a hub to have someone else doing graphics on one machine and another person driving Wirecast on a different machine.
Right.
And how you would do that, just to show you, hit that plus sign to input a new source. And instead of choosing Titler Live, you choose Titler Live NDI receiver. That is your source. And that receiver is then going to look on the network and say, okay, what machine is broadcasting NewBlue stuff to me?
And they should pretty much automatically find each
other. Yeah, unless there's multiple.
Yeah.
and then you do the drop-down choice, and you pick the machine you recognize.
The correct one.
Yeah.
So, and that's Ultimate only, the NDI stuff. It's Ultimate, not in advance.
That's right.
That's pretty slick. So, total separate control, total, just have one guy on graphics, scoreboard all day long.
Right, which is, can be a really powerful workflow, especially if your teams.
Heck
yeah. Your team of producers.
One person doing this, I mean, clearly can do a lot, but there's limitations of what they can keep track of and switch. If you're also, especially in a sports setting, you switch cameras, doing replays, etc. It'd be nice to offload the score, the graphics, the titles.
Right.
Very cool. So that's the big difference. Well, wow. So I know we have a website here at telestream.net. You can go to and check out all the different versions and flavors of Titler Live, from the Express, Standard, the Advanced, Pro, to the Ultimate version. And then you guys have more info at NewBlueFX.com.
That's right, NewBlueFX.com.
All right. Well, we'll put some links to that in the comments. Anybody has any last questions for Travis? Now's your chance. Type them into the chat there. But Travis, we just want to thank you. Can we put him back on screen real quick? We just want to thank you for being here, and it was great having you. I mean, I really appreciate you
Thanks.
diving in, being patient, and totally working with all these questions I had as you were.
No, it's great. It's actually refreshing for me to get into the details, just because I love this application and what's capable of. So
well, it's capable of a lot. You guys are doing great work there, and we are happy to continue to tell people about this and partner with you. I just think it really takes our software to the next level. Now people have the power of a TV production studio in their pocket. They can do ESPN level stuff at high school. So very cool.
Thank you, MMA, right?
Yeah, thank you, MMA. All mixed martial arts. Who knew? All right. Well, appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon, man.
All right. Take care.
You too. So that was it, everybody. That was our interview with Travis White from NewBlueFX, and we hope you enjoy it. Please follow us on social media. You can find them at NewBlueFX on Twitter and at Facebook. You can also find more information at Wirecast Telestream. So thanks. We'll see you next week for episode 12. Bye-bye.